The letter goes on to say, upon further reflection, she has concluded the only honest and viable path is to resign from cabinet.
Absolutely not expecting this. We were expecting today, Karen, to be covering Chrystia Freeland in her announcement of the fall economic statement. In fact, at about 10 a.m., she was supposed to have a press conference within the embargo space at around 2 p.m. to talk about the fall economic statement, lay out the future of the Canadian economy, new measures that are being taken.
Canada's financial world just got turned upside down. Chrystia Freeland, once the rock-solid finance minister, is out. But why? In a shocking move, Trudeau replaces her with his yes man, Dominic LeBlanc. Is this a desperate attempt to save a sinking ship or a calculated political gamble? The answer might surprise you. Chrystia Freeland's sudden exit as finance minister has sent shockwaves through Ottawa. The announcement caught everyone off guard, leaving political insiders and the public scrambling for answers. Freeland, once a powerhouse in Trudeau's cabinet, was known for her strong track record and unwavering loyalty to the Prime Minister. Her departure raises serious questions about the stability of Canada's economic leadership. Rumors are swirling about the real reasons behind Freeland's exit. Some speculate that tensions were brewing between her and Trudeau over key economic policies. Insiders whisper about heated debates on deficit spending and inflation control measures. The sudden nature of her departure only fuels these speculation, leaving Canadians wondering what's really going on behind closed doors. But here's where things get really interesting.
We are following breaking news from Ottawa, where Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland has announced she has resigned. She says the Prime Minister told her on Friday that he no longer wanted her to serve as Finance Minister and was offered another job in Cabinet. Freeland says the Prime Minister and her have found themselves at odds over the past few weeks about the best path forward for Canada.
Sources close to the matter reveal that Freeland outright refused to take another cabinet position. This shocking move suggests a deep rift between her and the Prime Minister. It's not just a reshuffling of roles, it's a complete break from Trudeau's inner circle. What does this mean for Canada's financial future? With Freeland out, who will steer the ship through these turbulent economic waters? The markets are already reacting, and economists are warning of potential instability ahead. Canadians are left wondering if their wallets will feel the impact of this political shakeup. Now brace yourselves for the real bombshell. Our sources have uncovered the shocking reason behind Freeland's removal. It turns out that Freeland was pushing hard for stricter fiscal measures to tackle the growing deficit. She reportedly clashed with Trudeau over his plans for increased spending, warning that it could lead to economic disaster. But Trudeau, determined to push through his agenda, decided to replace her with someone more willing to toe the party line. Just as the dust settles from Freeland's explosive exit, a new storm is brewing. Dominic LeBlanc, Trudeau's childhood friend, now sits in the finance minister's chair. But here's the kicker. He's juggling two of the most crucial roles in government. Can one man really handle Canada's finances and keep the provinces in line? Or is this a recipe for disaster? LeBlanc's appointment has set off alarm bells across Ottawa. This isn't just any cabinet shuffle, it's a move that puts Trudeau's inner circle firmly in control of the nation's purse string. LeBlanc and Trudeau go way back with a friendship that spans decades. It's this close relationship that has critics crying foul, calling LeBlanc nothing more than a yes man for the Prime Minister.
That tweet came out just as we were hearing from another cabinet minister, Sean Fraser, who's the housing minister, announcing his resignation. She talks about the differences in approach between her and Justin Trudeau. Particularly, it seems to be over although she doesn't say this emphatically, it seems to be referring to this planned GST cut. Freeland writes in her letter here because she talks about the threat of these tariffs that Donald Trump has talked about imposing. And Freeland says we need to keep our fiscal powder dry today so we can have the reserves we may need for a coming tariff war.
But it's not just their friendship raising eyebrows. LeBlanc's qualifications for the finance minister role are under intense scrutiny. He's a lawyer by training, not an economist. In a time of economic crisis, when Canada needs steady financial leadership, many are questioning if LeBlanc has the chops to navigate these turbulent waters. Adding fuel to the fire is LeBlanc's dual role. He's not just finance minister, he's also keeping his position as Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs. That's two of the most demanding jobs in government, rolled into one. Experts are sounding the alarm, warning that this workload could overwhelm even the most seasoned politician. How can one person effectively manage Canada's finances while also keeping the provinces happy? It's a balancing act that many fear is doomed to fail. The opposition is having a field day with this appointment. They're painting it as yet another example of Trudeau's problematic leadership style, putting loyalty above expertise. The big question on everyone's mind: how will LeBlanc handle the looming deficit crisis? With $61.9 billion in the red, Canada needs a steady hand at the wheel, but critics argue that LeBlanc is more likely to rubber stamp Trudeau's spending plans than to push back. LeBlanc's first statements as finance minister have done little to calm these fears. He's towed the party line, defending the government's spending plans and brushing off concerns about his qualifications. But his words ring hollow for many Canadians worried about their financial future. Remember when $42.8 billion seemed like a lot? Well, hold on to your wallets, because the real deficit number is even more jaw-dropping. As we peel back the layers of Canada's economic crisis, we're about to uncover a spending spree that makes LeBlanc's appointment look like small potatoes. The fall economic statement has left Canadians reeling. While everyone expected bad news, no one was prepared for the $61.9 billion bombshell that just dropped. That's right, the deficit is nearly $20 billion higher than initially projected. It's a number so big, it's hard to wrap your head around. But don't worry, we're going to break it down for you. So, where exactly is all this money going? The government claims $23 billion is earmarked for spending over the next 5 years, with a whopping $18.5 billion supposedly aimed at raising wages. But here's the kicker: $17.5 billion of that is tied to something called the Accelerated Investment Incentive Program. It's a fancy way of saying businesses can write off investments faster. But will that really translate to higher wages for everyday Canadians? Many experts are skeptical. The Trudeau government is trying to justify this massive spending spree by saying it's necessary to address immediate economic pressures. But critics, including former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, are calling foul. They're labeling this financial management as irresponsible and warning that it could lead to serious consequences for all Canadians. Opposition parties are up in arms, and for good reason. The lack of debate or questioning during the announcement of this fall economic statement is raising serious red flags. How can such a massive deficit be announced without any real scrutiny? It's a question that's leaving many Canadians worried about the transparency of their government. But here's what you really need to know. This deficit isn't just a number on a page. It's going to hit you where it hurts most: your wallet. Experts are warning that this level of spending could lead to increased inflation and higher taxes. That means everything from your groceries to your housing costs could go up, while more of your hard-earned money gets taken away in taxes. As we look at how the government plans to respond to this crisis, one thing is clear: Canadians are demanding answers. Will Trudeau and his new yes-man finance minister face the music? Or will they continue to dodge the tough questions? The economic future of Canada hangs in the balance, and it's time for some real accountability. As Trudeau's unbothered attitude raises eyebrows, you'd expect the Prime Minister to show some concern, right? Wrong. His recent public appearances have left many Canadians scratching their heads. This cool facade in the face of growing turmoil might just be his most controversial move yet. Pressure is mounting from all sides. The opposition is calling for Trudeau's head, and even his own Liberal Party is starting to question his leadership. But our Prime Minister? He's acting like it's just another day at the office. During a recent speech to the Liberal caucus, Trudeau appeared calm and collected, showing no signs of distress. Some observers called his demeanor smug and narcissistic. It's like he's living in a different reality from the rest of us. Experts analyzing Trudeau's body language during his speeches paint a troubling picture. They note a lack of concern for the mounting pressure he faces. Instead of addressing the serious issues at hand, Trudeau often displays a smug demeanor that's raising alarm bells. It's a stark contrast to the growing anxiety many Canadians feel about their economic future. Public opinion polls reveal a massive disconnect between Trudeau's perception of his leadership and what Canadians actually think. While he struts around Ottawa, seemingly without a care in the world, more and more people are expressing their dissatisfaction with his handling of the economy. The gap between Trudeau's confidence and public sentiment is widening by the day. Behind the scenes, things aren't looking much better for the Prime Minister. Reports suggest growing tension within the Liberal Party. Some members are openly questioning Trudeau's ability to lead effectively. With the recent cabinet shakeup and the controversial appointment of Dominic LeBlanc as finance minister, cracks are starting to show in Trudeau's inner circle. So, what's Trudeau's game plan? It seems his strategy for weathering this political storm involves maintaining a facade of confidence and control. His speeches often paint a rosy picture that's completely at odds with the concerns of everyday Canadians. It's a risky move that's leaving many wondering, will Trudeau finally face reality and step down, or will he continue to fight on, ignoring the growing chorus of dissent? As we look towards Canada's future, one thing is clear. Trudeau's Teflon tactics are wearing thin. His unbothered demeanor in the face of crisis is setting the stage for a showdown that could have far-reaching consequences for the entire nation. The question now is, how long can he keep up this act before the pressure becomes too much to bear?